Welcome to Santa Monica Pier Carousel.
Welcome back everyone. Before I introduce the video, let's take a quick look at what's going on here as we set off. We have a person in the road who seems to be talking to someone in the parking enforcement car. We waited nicely until the van has passed, and then proceed around them with plenty of room to make our turn. Top marks. Right, let's get into it properly. Today we're headed into Santa Monica from our starting point here at the main Waymo depot. We'll then swing by the Venice Beach area before heading back towards Culver City. There were so many crazy situations in this one, so do be sure to stick around to see how the Waymo driver handles it. Speaking of which, let's see how it does with this busy stop sign. We've got oncoming traffic coming fast from the left, and we need to make our right turn. It edges out ever so slowly until it has a good view of all the lanes of traffic that are approaching us. Let's skip ahead a little to when we eventually make our turn. Very nicely done. Up next we have a great example of how confident the Waymo driver is at reading the intentions of the drivers around it. As we approach this red light, watch the silver car on the right carefully. It's looking to pull back into the lane, and it swings out a little towards us. The Waymo driver isn't bothered in the slightest, and we continue on our way now that they've stopped behind the lane line. Let's take a look at another example that's just about to present itself. This black car on the right is basically parked in the intersection at this point, fully over the crosswalk. The Waymo driver probably thinks that it might be likely it will pull forwards more, or even run the red, so we steer to the left of our lane, giving them plenty of room to do something unexpected. It might look like something small, but the car seems to be doing a great job at prioritizing safety here. Coming up now is what I think is a good demonstration of a strength of Waymo's mapping approach. We're turning into the left lane now, it's just opened up, and it's not until the car in front has moved that we can see the keep clear area on the road. Waymo already knew it was there though, and has kept it clear even during a sudden lane change. We wait here, keeping it nice and clear, until Waymo decides that it's been blocking the lane for a little bit too long. There are cars behind us waiting to go into the right lane, and gives up and continues straight instead. Back to what I was saying about the mapping approach. If you didn't know, Waymo cars operate based on what's known as a HD map. Every street the car drives on has been carefully pre-mapped before it's allowed to drive there. The car therefore knows the exact locations of things like a keep clear marking or a stop sign before it even gets there. As we saw here, this has its advantages, but it also has a few downsides, such as a limited service area. Right now, I think it's definitely a win for passenger comfort, as there will be no sudden braking for unexpected stuff, like an occluded stop sign. And as you can see now, we've got back into the left lane that we originally wanted to be in, and it has no problem with that flagger waving that flag in our lane. Great job. And as you can see, we've now made it to the famous Santa Monica Pier. I was hoping for some challenging pedestrian interactions here, but the intersection is actually really well controlled, so nothing to report this time. Let's take a look at this upcoming turn. There's a bike in the road, just casually walking down it, and the Waymo turns nice and wide, giving it plenty of room. If you just looked carefully, you can actually see it change its steering angle for them in real time. Skip back 5 seconds and take a closer look. And as we're coming to our nice full stop at this stop sign, we can see two cyclists just run it like it isn't there. The Waymo driver saw them though, and waits nicely, negotiating with the second one. And we're here, approaching my first drop-off. We are stopped on a red curb, in front of the police no less, but this isn't something I take off points for, as any Uber driver would probably do the same. Let's continue. There's actually so much going on in this next part of the video that I don't have time to speed anything up. Immediately in front of us, we have some people crossing the road. We slow nicely to give them enough room to cross, then pass the one who doesn't choose to use the sidewalk with a nice distance. And already we have some construction workers and an oncoming car to navigate. I think the Waymo driver did an amazing job between giving the workers and the other car room. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Now, this is the part in the title and thumbnail you've probably been waiting for. As we approach this flagger, they turn the slow sign round to a stop. We obey, but go a little bit to the left, planning to continue. Now that car has passed, we continue straight through, now the slow sign has been turned around. I think there is a chance that it was just waiting for the car that was coming towards us and didn't pay too much attention to the construction sign. On the other hand though, it totally could have been the sign that it was looking at. I want to hear what you have to think about it in the comments, and Waymo, if you're watching, please let us know if you can. Let's continue. We're about to turn right, but as we go to make the turn, this cyclist suddenly changes direction and we have to stop quite quickly. Despite the urgency of that stop, this still felt quite comfortable from the back seat. Good job. Next up, we have another great example of pedestrian safety. Here, this person is walking down the bike lane and we slow a little just in case they come into the road. We've seen this many times on the channel by now, but it's still cool to see nonetheless. And it's that time of the video. Let's see how comfortable the car takes these speed bumps. Pretty good, and it did feel comfortable from the back seat too. And here's the next one. Pretty good. And finally, perfect job. Very comfortable. And now one more example of pedestrian safety. This is the last one for today, I promise. This big truck on our right might be hiding someone behind it, so as usual, we slow down just in case. But while slowing made a lot of sense there, this time there doesn't appear to be any reason for doing so. It goes all the way down to 5 miles an hour, so near a full stop for seemingly no reason. Let me know what you think the car is slowing for here. And right here we have a very busy unprotected left. The Waymo driver does a nice amount of creeping forwards, getting ready for the turn. Let's see how it does. And here's our gap. Very well done. Immediately next up, it's roundabout time. There's very few of these in LA, so I'm excited to take Waymo through it. Even if it's kind of a stopabout with those pointless stop signs. Let's see how it does. No complaints whatsoever. It's kind of a weird roundabout, well at least for my British standards, but it held up well. Let's pull over for our next stop.
You're here. Please make sure it's clear before exiting.
Let's continue. And let me say, I've got a treat for you all. Let's take the same roundabout again, from a different angle, after we've negotiated this stop sign. A little aggressive towards that SUV, but it does the job, and we can proceed through now. Right, roundabout. This time it's especially interesting, since we have a bus on our right. I'm not too sure if this is supposed to be a 2-lane roundabout, but it seems like it could be, and Waymo seems to agree by pulling into the left here. After waiting for these pedestrians, it seems the bus driver does not agree and cuts us off a little. Waymo just keeps steady and proceeds when it's clear. Overall safe. This roundabout is kind of unclear with no markings whatsoever, so I would say this was decent. Great job. Coming up now, this just seems to be the intersection that keeps on giving. I covered it in my last video from a different angle, and this time we're seeing some interesting lane change behaviour. Still, it was safe and with a signal, so no complaints from me. Take a look in the distance. You'll see this big blue truck making a U-turn of sorts by backing out of this driveway. Notice at no point do we stop. Waymo just slows, keeps rolling, and then proceeds to go around when it's safe and clear. This is great for passenger comfort and also for fuel efficiency. Take a look at this. We're about to make a lane change to the left, but this car waiting to turn ever so slightly rolls forward like it's about to enter the lane. So we simply cancel the lane change and continue where we are. Nicely done. And real quick, another passenger comfort thing to point out. This dip in the road is quite significant, and Waymo slows to a comfortable speed to go across it. Not too slow so that we're going slowly in the road, but enough to make it that little bit more comfortable. And that brings our trip for today to an end. Let's take a look at the final drop-off here in the parking lot.
You're here. Please make sure it's clear before exiting.
So, it's grading time. How was today's driving? A solid A all the way through. I have zero complaints about today's drive. The drop-offs were great, the driving was near perfect, everything was as it should be. All in all, a really good trip. Before I end the video, I just want to give a quick shout out to my collaboration with JJ Ricks. If you don't already know who JJ Ricks is, you're missing out. He does longer form Waymo content, a little like mine. We recently did a collaboration where I took him for a ride in Tesla FSD, so I'll have that on screen now if you want to take a look. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give the video a like, and let me know what you think in the comments as always. This is Autonomy Central, signing out.